At the end of each podcast episode, I'm going to recommend a podcast that somehow or another ties into this episode. So please listen to the whole episode of the podcast because I guarantee you, the podcast I recommend you're going to love. Let me tell you a little something about my guest. So, those of you that listen to the back episodes of Harford County Living with Rich Bennett, you know I had a lot of nonprofits on there, a lot of interesting people. And this young lady is the one that introduced me to them. And her and I have a history together. No, we never dated. That's not what I'm saying. We've known each other for a while. And she's always sending people my way. I'm sending people her way. She is a phenomenal lady. She's just probably one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. And she's always giving back. Now, granted, I haven't known her as long as Joe Ayler has, or should I say Joey. You understand that once you hear this episode. But she is just, like I said, a phenomenal lady. And her story, especially about her kids and her daughter, is something that you definitely want to hear. And God, I can't wait to have her back on again. But on this episode of Conversations with Rich Bennett, I'm excited to finally get on the podcast and to finally sit down and speak with her, Kristy Breslin of WJZ TV and also of Harford Magazine, which you can see on Harford TV. So sit back and enjoy the conversation.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Come on.
You're faster than me.
Guys.
We've been
I got a fake
together.
on mine. It's 24th and 13th.
Oh, man, you already said it. I was going to ask her if she remembered the date. I've been trying to get this young lady on the podcast. Oh, my God, I forget for how long now. But she does everything in Harford County. She is Mrs. Harford County. No, she's not married to me, but she's Mrs. Harford County. You see her all over TV, but I wanted to talk to her about growing up in Harford County and her career and her daughter. So sitting here with me, I have George Wooden, Joe Ayler, Kelly Jara, because they all have ties to this young lady.
They're all my buddies, Rich.
Yes. So we have Jennifer Franciotti on. No.
Oh my gosh! But I do love her. I do love her. But I knew you were going to do it.
No, we have Kristy Breslin on, so you're going to smack me, aren't you? I'm going to pay for that one.
Oh, you will. You will.
I know I will. How you doing, Kristy?
But you know what? I like being compared to her because I like her, so I'm all right with that.
Okay. Well, so were you surprised when you came in earlier?
Oh my gosh. So let me just tell you, George and I have been friends for a long time. Joey and I grew up together. I've known Joey Ayler since he was in his backyard playing Legos. And Kelly and I have been friends since the beginning of time when she came to Harford TV, well, Harford Cable Network back then. I was so nervous. I'm like, oh no, I have a new boss. She's become one of my greatest friends.
You were there before Kelly?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was there.
neat.
Yeah, I was there
wow.
before her. So when she came in, I was so nervous. I'm like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then lo and behold, years later, we're the best of friends. It's
Wow.
fabulous. So Harford, Harford Cable Network has been, where everything started for me. Because I started at 21, so it's
Wow.
been over 20 years. Oh no.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know, it's been a very long time. But, I love what I do. And for a while, I was selling airtime at WXCY. And then...
Wait,
Hold on. Let's start back a little further back.
Yeah, go
Oh,
back
no.
go back to
Tell
the
us-
Legos with Joey.
Tell us where you went to high school.
Oh, geez. Is this why you brought him? C. Milton Wright. And then I went to Bel Air Elementary. And I went to Southampton Middle School.
I'm sorry, you went to what elementary?
Bel Air Elementary.
Okay. I thought I heard Blair Mount Elementary.
Blair?
so-
No.
yeah.
Okay, let me do this in order. I went to Blair Elementary, Southampton, C. Milton Wright, Hartford Community College, and then I went to Towson for a little bit and graduated from the University of Maryland. So I am a Hartford County girl through and through.
Wait a minute, isn't your husband from here, from Jobtown?
He is.
How'd you meet him?
You don't want to know.
Okay.
At a bar, late night at a bar.
I gotta say this, but where do you live?
Cecil County.
You do?
Yeah.
All right, we're done here.
Yep.
Hold on. Well, there's a reason
She
why.
lives up here with me.
There's a reason why. TJ, my husband TJ works in Wilmington.
Okay.
So, it was kind of like a halfway point for us, but we're right over the bridge. But my parents still live in Hartford County. I still have a Hartford County address. I'm Hartford County.
Right. All right, now go back to the Legos.
Oh my gosh. Joey
Because in all
Ayler.
honesty, I've never heard anybody call Joey until you and George.
Well, now I call him Joey because she calls him Joey.
Well, because Joey, when we were growing up, we had mutual friends, the Sappingtons. So I've known Joey forever. I mean, I've known him. He was the cute guy. All the girls were like, oh my God, Joey's so cute, he's so cute.
Still are.
Still is. But it cracks.
Just a cute old guy now.
Oh, he's not old. You're younger than me. Watch it, Joey. But yeah, so Joey and I have a long history, but it's so funny to know somebody when you were kids and seeing them ride their bikes and playing Legos, and now he's running one of the most successful businesses in Hartford County.
So wait a minute, what's the age difference?
2 years, maybe?
So was there ever talk about dating there?
No, we were always just friends.
Okay.
This is prepubescent.
Yeah, as he leans into the microphone.
This is prepubescent era.
Yeah.
All right, so you said we didn't want to know, but we want to know. How did you meet your husband?
How did I meet TJ? Okay, so funny. I actually met him on Match.com when it first came out.
Wait a minute, how long you guys? I was going to say.
16 years we've been
Wow.
together. Yeah, when it first came out. Because I didn't want to date anybody I worked with.
Right. I don't blame you.
And I'm
there.
like, this new thing came out, and I'll admit it, I'm pretty cheap. And it was like, all right, there's Match.com, go on for a 2-week free trial. And I'm like, all right, sure. So I went
You
on.
a free trial.
Yeah, I got a free trial. Yay me,
You
right?
had to delete it right after.
Right.
Exactly. So I went on 3 dates, 3 different people. TJ was the one. The rest is history. I know,
well, because the
that's
trial ran out, right?
Exactly. I wasn't going to pay it. After that 2 weeks was over, I was done.
Just like she was trying to pick the name of
TJ,
Hartford
you're
TV.
lucky because my trial's over, so
Got 3.
you're stuck
Got
with
3
me
now.
now.
Right.
That's pretty much what
That's
happened.
how it worked, right?
Pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Oh, gee. I don't know, and that's how I found out about her husband, because her husband lived around the corner from me. Right?
Yeah, his parents did.
Or his parents did.
Yeah, and they're now at Oakcrest, but yeah, they lived right around the corner from you, and pretty much across the street, right?
Well, the next court over, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how I found out about the young lady I told you about, Mrs. Z.
Right.
I was like, I didn't even know. Kristy don't even live down here, and she knew, and she told me. I was like,
Well, tell us about your very first opportunity to get into TV.
Well, it's really
Or communications or whatever.
It's funny. It all starts with Wayne Hepler and Bob Lidke. No joke. I remember I was in Wayne Hepler's class, and he's like, "Hey, they're doing this thing for Hartford Cable Network, and they want a TV host." And I'm like, "All right, I'll apply. Sure, I'll try it." And I remember I went in. I guess I did good on the audition, and I'll never forget Sandy Eanes at the time, Bob Lidke were there, and they looked at me and they're like, "I think we got who we need," and that's how it all started, and it just never ended.
And where were you going to school at the time?
Hartford. I was in Wayne
Hartford
Hepler's
Community
class at
College?
Hartford Community College.
Hey, go back to WXCY a minute. What were you doing at WXCY?
Well, from 21, I was at the Hartford Cable Network the whole time, but I was doing WXCY. I was selling airtime. Bob Bloom, still a very good friend of mine. And then I decided, I've always wanted to be in TV. So about 27, I started filling in for Baltimore TV. And I was filling in on Jay-Z. I always was doing that. And then I was doing 98 Rock. I was doing WBAL. I was filling in for Channel 2. The lottery hired me to do their on-air lottery drawings.
Right.
So I
Did
was...
you do that?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah,
didn't
I
know
was
that.
all over the place, but I always wanted, I was doing all that because the job I really wanted was WJZ, but there just wasn't anything. So then in 2011, Sharon Jabal was doing the split shift, and they said to me, they're like, all right, we want you to come here, but you have to drop everything else. And I'm like, well, great. The only thing that was in my contract that I could keep was HCN. That was it.
Okay.
And it simplified my life, and I loved it. And I did afternoons for years. And then a year and a half ago, I switched over to mornings.
But you're always doing traffic.
Always.
I mean, was that your goal, just to do traffic there?
Yeah, I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. It's fun.
So during COVID, I mean, did WJZ bring all those TVs in?
I broadcast out of my basement for over a year. And
basement.
out of my basement. Yep. I sent everybody pictures of it, and it was great. I would go downstairs. I could wear sweatpants. I only had to get dressed from the top
the
up.
dog right there with you.
Loved
Wait a minute,
having
I'm sorry,
my
you
dog.
had to get dressed what?
I could wear sweatpants, and then I'd have to wear something fancy. No, I didn't do what some of the other people did. I got fully dressed. I just wore sweatpants, jeans. I had my dog with me. But yeah, Jay-Z brought in a whole bunch of equipment, and I felt really bad for TJ though, because TJ's an IT expert, and they knew that going in, so they weren't worried about me being at home because I had him. It would be 4:01. TJ, can you come down and fix this? So poor TJ, like 4 a.m. calls all the time, and he goes, I know, and sickness and in health and all this TV stuff.
Stupidmatch.com.
I know, right? I think that's what he was thinking.
Now, was he working from home too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, things, with COVID, things changed. TJ works for JP Morgan Chase, and, not many good things came out of COVID, but now they only go in twice a week, and he works from home 3 days a week, which is great because, as you guys know, Madison, my daughter, is a type 1 diabetic.
Right.
And that is a whole nother beast.
How long ago was it that you found out she was diabetic?
5 years.
5 years ago.
5 years ago, and I'll never forget it. And Kelly will never forget it. Nobody will ever forget it.
No.
It was very strange. She was just acting so weird. She wasn't sick or anything, but she was drinking excessively. Like, she just couldn't stop drinking. She was so thirsty.
Really?
And then she started getting sick and acting weird. So I'm a hypochondriac. And I call the doctors all the time. They're like, "No, Kristy, just give it one more day. She's fine. She's fine." I'm like,
Probably the flu. It's probably the flu.
Yeah, that's what they did say. That they said something like that. So I'm like, So I took her to the emergency room. They pricked her finger, and I'm like, why would they do that?
Check her blood sugar.
898.
Whoa!
898. And your blood sugar is supposed to be between 80 and 120. She was in dietetic ketoacidosis, which meant all of her organs were failing. Doctor told me we had hours left. Everything was shutting down. I'll never forget it. We got in the ambulance. We drove down. We were in there for 5 days. I didn't even know there was 2 types of diabetes.
Yeah.
I only knew that there was one. So I didn't know what type 1 diabetes was. Nobody had ever had it. We had never heard of it. So we had to become diabetic experts in 5 days. And then we started with needles, and then we started with pens. And now she's got a pump, and I have my phone here, and I monitor. I can find her blood sugar numbers on my phone every 5 minutes, which is great.
Yeah.
She has a pump on her, so when she eats, we put in the amount of carbs that she has and it'll automatically dose her. But it was a nightmare, and I'll tell you, a lot of people don't understand it. But one person that did, my work husband, Bob Turk, his daughter Mackenzie is 24. She was a type 1 diabetic. Bob Turk, I do not know how I would have gotten through this without him. He was there every step of the way, because when you have a type 1 diabetic, you speak a different language.
Right.
And he spoke that language, and he told me, he said, look, I know this is horrible. And he's very close with Madison. Jay-Z was wonderful. Madison would come to work with me almost every day for a while, and it was great. And he said to me, he's like, we didn't have this technology when Mackenzie was younger. They had to prick her finger every hour. So, I mean, type 1 diabetes, it's a 24/7 job, and it's scary. Very scary.
Does anybody in your family or TJ's family have diabetes?
Type 2, but no type 1.
No type 1.
They still don't know what causes type 1, but
Yeah.
from what we're seeing, and this is very interesting, I think I told Kelly about this, Madison's doctors told me when COVID hit that their caseload went up 400%. So they're thinking that and we always thought this, she got some kind of sickness which caused her pancreas to stop working. That's what type 1 is.
Yeah.
Type 2, it works, it just doesn't work well. But type 1, it doesn't work at all. So she must have gotten something. We don't know what it was. But with COVID, now there's a whole bunch more type 1 diabetics out there.
So with that, because she's got to change her diet, right?
Yeah.
Which means, did you guys have to change your diet as well?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, Rich. We do but we have to just be careful what she has. Now,
Right.
pasta's the worst thing that you can give a diabetic, obviously, and
'Cause the
sugar.
carbs?
Yeah, the carbs.
Yeah.
We have to watch the amount of carbs that she has. She can still have everything that you and I can have, but in moderation, and she has to dose for it.
How do you know, like you said, you dose her, and I know how it works with your phone because we've done it. We've been out to dinner enough. But how do you know the amount of carbs that she's eating?
Well, because you have to basically, like when we went out to eat, I had to guess. Like I look up on an app, like she got some shrimp. I know shrimp has no carbs. Or if you go to like a meatloaf or something, you have to kind of.
So you have to search it?
Yes, you have to guess it. Now, like with stuff that you buy at the grocery store, like the cereal and stuff, that has all the carbs listed, so that's easier. Eating out is definitely tricky because you have to kind of make a guess.
What happens if you overdose?
Then her sugar will go low, and I just give her some Smarties or something, and it'll come back up.
Got it.
But it's, if she goes, and we've been there before, you're supposed to be between 80 and 120. She's gone to 40 before. She gets shaky and scary, and it's just a matter of activity, and then she going through puberty and stuff like that. So it's very, very, very hard to manage, and we do the best that we can. But our alarms go off all night. Like no matter what happens, there's either a high or a low. And if you go over 200, then your organs start getting damaged. Your eyes, your lungs, everything.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
But
just.
she was at 800, she said.
Yeah, I
She was
know.
she was at 800, and I cannot figure it out. It breaks my heart every day.
Well, because you said her pancreas doesn't work at all.
Right.
So is there any thought of ever doing like a pancreas transplant?
We tried. That's not possible. I tried to see if I could give her mine. They said it's not possible. It's never been done.
See, I never heard of that.
Nope, it's not. I tried. I would have done anything. I would do anything to take this disease from her, but I just can't. There's nothing I can do. It's just learn how to manage it and live with it.
I told you, my whole family, my father's side, every one of them was diabetic. Yeah. Bad diabetic.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary. Both her grandparents were. But, I mean, we're at the point now where, she knows what she knows what to do. She's 12 years old. But there's the times, like the other day, she had a whole bunch of friends over, and she was eating pizza, and she likes those Takis and chips. And I went to her, and I'm like, hey, your number's like 400. Oh, I forgot to dose. I'm like, yeah, we can't do that. That's not a game. Nope. No.
Yeah.
We need to remember every single time.
I had a lady on before, Elena Pippett. I don't know if you know her or not.
I heard of the name.
Okay, because I think that she was mentioning her daughter has diabetes as well.
Yeah.
Her daughter's supposed to come on, and she wants to talk about it. She wants to do a class in school about it, which I think is great, teaching other kids.
Well, it is. It is.
Because, you had no idea. Nobody had no idea that this was going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's just
our life changed
there, yeah.
immediately.
Within, like that.
Immediately, but it's good for the other kids to know. Like her close friends, they know. They're like, Madison, your sugar's low. But I mean, there's not many good things that come out of it, but we try and make the best of it.
Right.
And I think she's got a good attitude towards it. I really do.
Oh yeah.
She does. But I just hoping for a cure.
Yeah.
But not holding my breath.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if there was a cure right away. But the thing is with that, and as you know, Parkinson's and other things, because of all the research, you're seeing a lot more that's done with it. Well, you already mentioned, now she has something you can monitor it. You couldn't do that years ago.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Through her phone.
Well, she has a sensor on her arm that
Yeah.
monitors her blood sugar, and then the Omnipod is what it's called, and it's on her stomach, and she just puts the numbers into a machine, and it doses her, and then it automatically gives her what she needs.
Right.
But it's a lot of work.
This is go to shit. Like she's talking about everything shutting down. Like my father and my aunts, they would lose legs, eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's people don't get it. It's a serious disease.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. We had a guy in the club that had it, and I don't always had a good, positive outlook on everything, though.
Well,
even after everything he went through.
Well, this is the way I look at it. I was real close to not having a daughter. Yeah. So I thank God every single day that she's still here.
Yeah.
Because we had another close call. It was, when do you think that was? It was a couple months ago. Wasn't it? Remember when she...
Feels like it was just a few, yeah.
Yeah, a couple months ago where Madison had some and she realized she's 12. She made a mistake. She had some snowball flavoring, straight snowball flavoring. Didn't dose for
Straight
it.
sugar water.
Straight sugar.
water.
We ended up back in the ER for a couple days.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. But her doctors looked at her and they're like, "You're so responsible. What happened?" She's like, "I don't know." But they said to me, they're like, "You know what? It was 5 years ago she was here. It was a horrible experience, but we want to remind her, like, this is what's going to happen when you don't dose." So it was a hard lesson to learn. But we learned it, and it was during COVID. So TJ and I had to take turns. Only one of us was allowed up
That's
at one
gotta be
time.
hard as a
That was
parent.
so hard. It was so hard.
Man.
Yeah. But it was 5 days. We got out, and she's been pretty good ever since.
All right. So you said she's 12 now, right?
Right.
Is there a little Joey around there too?
Oh, a little. There could never be another little Joey
Okay.
Ayler. Never. No. Little Joey Ayler.
Just gave you the death stare.
Well, I mean, her daughter could be playing with another little Joey or something like she did back then with
Yeah, but
Legos.
Joey was always like, you know what, Joe, I don't mean to embarrass you, but all the girls had a crush on Joey. They all wanted to go to homecoming with Joey. He's shaking his head, but he's lying. They all wanted to go to homecoming with Joey. Joey was so adorable. I mean, he's an all-around great guy. So I'm so happy for your success. I just think it's really cool.
One of Hartford County's most beautiful people in the
Yes,
world.
he was.
I was in the office the other day, and his daughter tells his mother-in-law, he shouldn't be in the most beautiful thing. And his mother-in-law says, well, you didn't even hear this. Well, it's really not beautiful. Well, he should be part of the most handsome.
Oh.
That's what she said. She said, well, it has to do with his heart. But my daddy should be in Hartford County's most handsome. That's what she said.
That is so
I thought we were
cute.
talking about Kristy.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Well, no, I brought this up because your daughter's 12.
Right.
So I know mothers are different, but hopefully TJ has this rule. Is she dating yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe mothers do have that rule.
No way.
Okay.
30, Rich. 30.
All right. Okay.
And that's the
My son's
earliest.
26, he's not even dating.
Yeah, that's the earliest.
Okay. So you're like me.
Yeah.
Trying to find a convent for her and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Yes.
my daughter's 20. I never found a convent.
So you
I
guys.
was the father of a 12-year-old, and he said it. I would have been like, what the heck?
Well,
No, because she's
40 cal real quick.
Yeah.
she's
right.
becoming a teenager.
He's sharpening knives, Bennett.
well, Alex is my teenager. He's 14, and I was leaving. Joe, you'll love this, and Kelly, you'll love this. I was leaving the house. He goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to do a podcast." Why? And I said, "Well, it's with my friend Rich. What's it about?" I said, "Me." And he goes, "Why do they want to talk about you?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he goes, "No offense, but you're not that interesting." And I'm like,
Whoa.
"What?" I said, "Really?"
Oh.
And he goes, "Well," I said, "Explain this." And he goes, "Well, I mean, you never want to play Forza, and you never want to play Fortnite."
the racing.
He's like, "And you don't like shooting archery with me?" And I'm like, I don't know." And he goes, "What are you going to talk about?" And I said, "I gotta go." So I just left it at that. But kids, they just, what, Joe, they say anything they want.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Let's talk about the emceeing thing real quick.
I love it. I love emceeing
How-
stuff.
Do you remember the first event that you emceed?
I do, actually. It was the Athena Awards.
Oh, wow.
And that was, oh my gosh, that was 16 years ago, maybe even
Wow.
longer. Yeah. The very
Were
first
you
Athena.
nervous?
I was so nervous. I was so nervous because they asked me to do it, and I'm like, why do they want me to do this? And then I did it, and I loved it. And Hartford County is such a tight-knit community. You know most of the people, and it's great because now I've got certain people that I can pick on. Like if you were in the audience, you would never hear the end of it. George, Rich, Kelly, any of you guys.
I don't show up to anything
county
that you're
executive.
emceeing.
You're smart.
Thank
Oh,
God I was
he
standing up
gets
there
it pretty
with her.
bad.
Leave me alone. I'm up there next to her.
Oh yeah, I mean it's great because it's really Hartford County is where I'm from. It's my people, and I love emceeing events. I've never charged anybody ever. I never will. I don't believe in it. I believe these nonprofits either fighting for every dollar right now.
Yep.
So the most I can do is give a little bit of my time.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and I enjoy it, and I get to do a lot of fun stuff.
How many? How many events have you emceed?
Oh, good
Hundreds,
Lord.
hundreds. Every
I
year,
haven't charged a dime.
I would say, gosh, I'm 43. I started emceeing at 23. 25 a year, you do the math. 20 to 25. This year was a little lighter because of COVID. I did a lot of virtual events, but a lot. Go ahead, George. I know you got something you want to say.
I'm like, he's asking you haven't charged a dime, and he's saying this next to the charity fundraiser. I'm like, boy, Joe. God.
So, do you still get nervous before you MC an event?
No.
Really?
I wouldn't be able to do it if I did, because
she rolls with it. She's a champ.
I just go with it because the organizations that I MC for, number one, I don't do any organizations that I don't know about and I don't believe in. So I make sure I know the mission, I know the people, I know what I'm talking about, and I've done enough that I know how to keep the crowd moving and I know how to read them. Like, are they going to be a dancing crowd? Are they going to be a more, subdued crowd? So it's just become a thing. Like, it's fun. I really enjoy it.
I have to add crowd because she just rolled with me with one, right? So we do an event that will go and remain unnameless, right? And there was somebody in the crowd. Every time she would talk or I would talk, this person would go, whoop, 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 whoop. And she just rolled right through it, didn't you?
I did. But I'll tell you, George cracks me up because George, he knows how to command the crowd. He is very good at what he does. And it was, he stopped. He's like, excuse me. Would you like to? I mean, he actually called the guy out. It was the most entertaining part of the night.
Twice to stop, and then I had it because he was doing it to her, and she's my girl and all that. And so she's doing it to her, and then she's doing it to me. So I just had it, and you know my background.
Yeah.
Come on, Jarhead. You know what I mean?
I thought it was going to put him in a headlock.
Listen,
Joey and I were talking. I went over to Joey and I'm like, "Do you have bail money?" And he's like, "Do you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I guess we could scrape some things together."
I just asked him. I said, "You want to do it? Stand up." But she just in front of everybody, and he didn't stand up. But she just rolled right through it. She was a lot better at it than I was. I mean,
You're used to hecklers?
You know what? That was one I had not seen before. That
Really?
was definitely new for me because he was really George is out there trying to raise money for this really good cause, and this guy is he's so loud and it's very distracting. And I was like, George is one of the reasons why I love George so much is he will say what everyone is thinking, but doesn't have the guts to say. And I've seen it on so many occasions. So entertaining.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, sometimes you got to put people in their spot.
And he does.
Yeah.
He does. I know if anybody messes with me, I know who to call. Let's put it that way.
What's your next event that you're emceeing?
Oh, you know what? I'm actually doing the Bel Air Christmas Parade on December 5th. I love that one. It's cold, and there's a lot of reading, but it's a lot of fun. So
is it actually a parade outside?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a parade inside.
How would you MC it? How would you MC it?
It's a virtual parade.
They have the stage.
Yeah, they have the stage.
Oh, it's a stage.
Yeah, and
like
let
where
me.
you judge the
judging stage.
Oh no,
is
no.
where she'll be positioned.
Let me just stop you there. I do not judge. And let me tell you
me?
why. Well, I judge you, but I don't judge anybody else.
No, I didn't mean. Okay,
We all
never
judge you,
mind.
Bennett.
No, I did years and years ago. Harvard's Most Beautiful Baby. I used to be the MC for that, and
God.
there was judges for that, and people used to get
Do they still do that?
No, people used to get kind of upset. So I like to stay neutral. So I won't judge. I'll MC for you, but I'll never judge.
When I told you that at the Lions Club Pet Festival, you said you would be a judge for that.
I can judge pets, not children.
Well, technically,
Yeah,
I mean,
babies.
I was going to say children when they're babies, they're pets in a way. I can say that mine are grown up now.
Yeah, Harford County's most beautiful pet.
Oh,
This is a good Rottweiler, I know.
When did they stop
We
the
can
most,
put a leash
or
on
the
George.
beautiful baby?
when did they stop that? They
that
stopped
was,
that.
that was a Harvard family house.
Yeah, that was a long time
That
ago.
was a long
They
time
replaced it
ago.
with the purse auction.
Yeah.
And the purse auction's more fun.
Okay.
Missed it totally. He wants to put a leash around my neck when Harford County's most beautiful pet.
Cecil County's most
Beautiful pet. Holland Acres, southern.
Southwestern Cecil County.
This is what happens when these two get together.
I know. Believe me. I know. That's why I was so glad that I have this panel of people. The panel of people I feel comfortable with.
After messing with her this morning.
Yeah, that was mean. Yeah, I called him. I said, "Why aren't you coming?" And he's like, "I got a meeting. I got to go." And then
Standing right there.
he shows up. Jumps out, scares me. It's okay. Like to scare me, like to freak me
I
out.
had no idea he was here.
Of course not. You're so innocent.
I didn't know he was coming.
Oh, sure. And you're supposed to be Santa Claus.
Well,
Santa Claus is
well,
honest.
thank you for ruining that and telling all the kids.
You're
Santa
supposed to be
Bennett.
like Santa Claus.
So I have a question. Since I used to sit as a duty officer, this goes back to Jay-Z. I'm going to ask you on the mic since we've never had this conversation. Since I used to be a duty officer on a state police, is that how you get your traffic stuff from calling around to the barracks? And stuff like that?
No. I have the company that I work for, iHeartMedia. They have people that do that. They have people that listen to the scanners, and they have people that watch the roads and stuff like that. They call around, yeah, but no. I get all my information from a screen. But all the traffic reports that I do, they're all mine. I make them up. I make all of the graphics. I don't have a teleprompter. I write everything down. People always think that I do. I produce it, and I report it by myself. Yeah.
iHeartMedia, is that the same company that owns iHeartRadio and all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
98 Rock too, right?
I don't know if 98 Rock...
No.
Hearst.
Yeah.
That's
Hearst
Hearst,
is
yeah.
98 Rock. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm just a regular chick that apparently isn't that interesting.
According to your son.
Yes, according to myself.
Not according to us.
I don't know about that. Because some of the guests I've had on here, especially ones you've sent to me, your name's always coming up. The nonprofits. Oh my God, how many have you come across, or do you even know?
Wow. Well,
12 shows a year. Just
yeah,
for us.
12 shows a year over 20 years. A lot.
That's the Hartford Magazine.
Hartford Magazine.
Yep.
Exclusively on Hartford
I
TV.
wanna-
That's right.
I want to
HartfordTV.org.
interject something because she just played they both did, but she was the start of it. A major part in helping a little girl. It was this fundraiser,
Right.
another fundraiser we did.
Yeah.
That because of her, we raised a lot of money and helped this little girl.
Well, it wasn't because of me. It was a team effort, really, because basically George was so weird. George called me and he goes, "Do you know about this little-"
All I heard was George is so weird.
Well,
But
yeah,
go ahead.
that's a fact.
Generally.
That's not
Yeah,
abnormal.
it's not a hobby.
He called me and he goes, "Do you know about this little girl, Riley?" And I said, "Yes, actually I do, because basically Riley, the little girl that got hit, and George can kind of tell you more about that. We were raising money. Is she paralyzed, George? She's completely paralyzed. She was hit by a drunk driver. Such a beautiful girl. It was just awful. So George called me and he said, "Do you know anything about this?" I said, "Yes. My friend Sasha reached out to me and we did a story on it on WJZ." Well, George came to me and basically we talked, and he got the Jeep Club to come on board, and Rockin' for Riley was born. So because of the collaboration between me and George and Danny and Joey, we really got it together, and it was a fantastic event. But
Almost 700 people.
it was one of the most heartbreaking events I've ever been to, because the girl is just it just I can't even, Rich. It's just, when you think about it, and I think about Madison with diabetes, and I think that's unfortunate, and then I look at what these poor people have to go through, and it's just you were there, Joey. It was such a great event.
The reason why I called and said, "Have you heard anything about this?" Because I've gotten involved in some that weren't
Right.
as reputable as they should have been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I called her and said, "Do you know anything about this? And do you know a charity we can hook up with?" Because the Jeep Club wanted to do it, and they asked me for my help, and then I called her, of course.
Yeah, how'd you meet Danny McGee?
Oh, do you remember, Kelly? We interviewed Danny when he released his Chasing a Flawed Son book.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So we had him on, and we had him on with Pastor Craig, and so yeah, I've gotten to know Danny. He's on a lot of boards. He does a lot of charity work.
Yeah, I know.
So.
I've had him on the show before.
Yeah. So I really like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
So we've gotten to know him pretty well.
So where's Kristy go from here? Because
Honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you.
There's got to be something you want to do that you haven't done yet.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I love where I'm at. I do.
Okay.
But if I could do anything in the world, I want to be in a movie with Adam Sandler. I love Adam Sandler. I love him so much.
I don't know him.
I
Just
know,
saying.
George. Jeez. I love Adam
People, but
Sandler.
I don't know Adam Sandler.
I think he is the funniest. Come on, Joe.
I love him.
He's the funniest man ever.
He's lovely.
His movies, like anytime I'm in a bad mood, I watch Happy Gilmore. I watch Billy
Oh,
Madison. I just think he's great. So if I could do anything, I would probably do something like that. But I'm really happy.
But
I
how
love.
about like being a national broadcaster?
God, you know how
I'm
long
on.
it would take her to do traffic for the whole nation?
You know what, George? That would be great. But now is a tough time to be in TV, and
Yeah,
everybody
it is.
knows it. You know,
Yeah.
it's because of cancel culture. You have to watch anything that you say can be misconstrued.
Oh.
So it's you know it. Everybody knows it. So I love my job, but I'm more afraid than ever of saying something that could be misinterpreted.
Right.
So
Even some things that on, which we will not. Even some road hazard conditions have to be renamed.
yes, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
People
anything,
find anything
anything.
offensive somehow or another.
Right. So got to be real careful what you say. And, you know, yeah, would I like to expand my career? Eventually. But right now, I'm very happy. I've got a great job. I love what I'm doing with Hartford TV. I love doing traffic. You know, I'm able to be there for my kids. I'm able to watch them grow up because they're 12 and 14. They still got a lot of growing to do. So I'd say I'm pretty happy. But if Adam Sandler did come to me and say, hey, I got this great new movie.
So we gotta rename Road Hazard. Maybe me and you'll stage like a fender bender on Hartford Road one morning.
Right, that's it.
Look up at the camera.
Right.
Wouldn't surprise me at all with you two. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
So have your kids talked about you doing the same thing that you do?
My kids are not impressed with me at all.
Well, all right, we know your son's not.
At all.
She's still mom. She's just mom.
Yeah,
to them,
they
so.
could honestly care less. But I mean, I was pregnant with both of them on TV. They kind of, grew into this. And sometimes their friends at school will be like, "Hey, your mom's the traffic chick," and they're like,
Traffic
"Yeah,
chick.
so." Yeah, it's not impressive to them because they grew up with it.
Right.
Now, they did not, when I was working from home, they did not like that. Alex was very concerned.
Oh, that's right, because they were doing school from home.
No, he was worried about I was working in the basement. They were worried about his Xbox space.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's like, that's going to take a lot of room up in the basement. And Madison's like, what? That really? She goes, are you going to wake me up? And I'm like, okay, I'm very glad that you guys are so concerned for my well-being and everything. But
Thanks
no,
for
those
the support.
those
We
were
get
the
to
main
stay home and
concerns.
be safe.
Those were the main concerns from my kids.
We haven't identified any up-and-coming Hartford County MCs, so it looks like you're going to be riding that.
All right,
Wow.
I'm all right with that.
Listen, Walker.
Hey.
We'll get her a walker.
Yes,
You can
Joey,
train me.
I could. We'd have so much fun.
Oh, God.
I'd be up there like having like an anxiety attack. Kristy, help me.
It's not that.
What am I talking about?
He was worried about Hartford's Most Beautiful. He's like, I'm not going to have to speak, am I? And I said, it depends on how I feel that night.
Just do it from the heart, man.
But
Yeah.
speak, I
Yeah.
always tell her about how impressed I am to be able to compose yourself and speak to that large of a crowd at such a critical moment. I think is impressive because especially when you're reporting traffic, it's like I need to know that like now.
Right.
I don't need to know it like in 10 minutes or 20 minutes. That's something that's affecting me right now, and you've got to deliver that message right on time. And that's I think that's impressive.
Thank you, Joey. That's why I like him so much.
I think that is being able to speak to people and to compose yourself mentally and deliver that message. I think that's a gift for sure.
I can see you doing it.
I could see
I
you doing it.
mean, look, hey, with the podcast you've been helping me with, especially the Lifetime Oath.
That's just because there's no cameras in here.
Well, I can't do. I was afraid.
Teach you how to talk
Hey,
fast.
when she came in and interviewed me for the Hartford Magazine, I told you I was afraid the camera was gonna break.
Oh, I was nervous on that one.
Oh, jeez, you guys.
I have broken cameras before. Ask Steve Clendenin, he'll tell you.
Oh, I am going to ask.
Ask it. The first podcast episode was originally supposed to be on YouTube. Halfway through, he's like, "Rich, we got a problem." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "The camera's not working." Brand new camera. He tested it before. That told me right then and there I only have a face for radio or podcast.
Oh,
and that's
my
it.
gosh. That's
Santa.
terrible.
It's
Terrible.
Santa. Yeah,
Terrible.
Give kids nightmares.
I do. Or well, DJing too. I can do that, but people
You're a
don't
pro.
see it.
You're a pro. I just heard he just DJ'd the Michael J. Fox Foundation event. You were fabulous. You and your son heard all about it. You're all over the place, Rich.
Yeah, well, I'm more or less my son's
Where was I?
helper. No, Ripken Stadium was the walk to end Alzheimer's, which my son loved that. He just plugged into the sound system there, was up in the press box. Had a good old time. Yeah, actually,
Aren't you the president of Hartford? Tell us about Hartford TV.
Yeah, I'm the president of the foundation. Yeah.
How many nonprofits are you on? You got Hartford TV Foundation.
That's it. That's it. That's
okay.
it. I help everybody, but I'm not on any other boards.
Okay.
Because I really can't be. Because I don't want to be on a board that I can't fully commit to.
Right.
And it's a lot being the president, It's a lot that goes into it, and you want to do a good job. I don't want to spread myself too thin and not do it to the best of my ability.
Very important question. How much Kristy time do you get?
Well, I love to watch Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise.
I don't care what you want to watch. How much time do you actually get to yourself?
None. I don't get any.
I have been asking her for at least
Stop,
2 years
George!
to go out to dinner with my wife and I, and it's hard to get her and TJ, Mr. Breslin.
Yeah, he hates that. Oh, he hates it. It's so funny. It's so funny. There was one event where they actually put a tag that said Mr. Breslin, and my dad got a hold of it. Oh, poor TJ's never lived it down. Never. But no, to be honest with you, it's really hard to, because Madison is 12, so we don't like to leave her home alone.
Right.
It's either got to be me or TJ, because with all the devices that she has, if the sensor breaks, if the pod breaks, if there's a leak, if her sugar, there's so many things that could go wrong.
Right.
Like, I think eventually in a couple years, she'll be able to do this more on her own. And right now she's good, but you can't. We're not ready to leave her yet.
Has she gone, what is it? I think it's Camp Possibilities.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Okay.
We did hear, she hasn't done any of that yet.
Okay.
But, that could be something that she does down the line. But poor thing can't really do any summer camps or anything.
Right.
But she's just had her friends over and been having a good time. And I have a lot of kids at my house all the time. So, I feel like at least I'm giving her own summer camp.
Yeah.
And she comes and plays with chickens and turkeys.
Oh, she loves George's chickens and
does she?
turkeys. Oh, my goodness. Loves them. It's on
The
my
Real
list.
Housewives of Hartford County.
Oh, yeah. I would MC that. I could be the Andy Cohen for that.
How about the Real House Husbands of Southwest?
Cecil County.
George could lead that one.
Actually,
Cecil County's
wasn't there
most
talk
sexiest
about a housewife of Hartford County something?
No, there was. Yes, Heather, my friend Heather, was doing something like that.
Alive. Cecil County.
Did they do the
Cecil
same, the Hartford County Dancing with the
Who's got the
Stars
best
thing
pickup
this
truck?
year?
It is coming up in it's next year.
This
Are we doing
next
it-
year?
Is it April? Because you're getting ready to do the show.
Yeah, it's
April?
it's in April.
It's in April.
It's in April.
We're
Okay.
live. Well, here's the problem. We would very much like to live stream that on Facebook, but they use popular music. And so
the
what had happened
copyrights.
before is that because of copyright, first
they'll
Facebook
stop you.
mutes it,
Yeah.
and then they cut our feed off.
Doesn't she sound like Robin Temechka, how she delivers her
Oh, do I?
maternity report?
So did they
Oh
already
my
have the
gosh, no.
dancers picked out for that? Or do they have to be nominated?
I would. They already have the dancers picked out.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Because I could tell from the correspondence with
Everyone's pointing to poor Joey, saying that they want you to dance.
to
They
bring
want
it
you
in.
to
the Hartford County Dancing
By
with the
yourself.
Stars thing?
Dance?
Yeah,
Ballroom
yeah.
By
dance?
yourself.
Yeah.
Just ballroom dance by yourself too.
Dance, you
They'll
kidding
give
me?
you a nice woman to dance with, not by yourself.
I know a good one. I know one.
And for the,
Oh,
the
I can't
Maryland Center
dance.
For the Arts thing?
Maryland
Yeah.
Center,
Yeah, they called me. I said,
They asked me to do it one year too, and I couldn't commit because it was so much time.
It is
Yeah.
a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. But everybody that does it says
Yeah.
it's like amazing. It's a great
yeah.
experience.
It's going to be in Hunt Valley.
you and
the next
TJ
one.
could dance.
Oh no, I can't
No,
dance.
they
He
pair,
really
it's not a
can't
husband
dance.
wife thing. They pair you
No.
up with a professional.
I think you
don't
can.
they?
No,
Yeah.
they pair you, but if your wife wants to,
Oh, they will let you.
I think
use
if
like
you,
a spouse.
I think so. I
There
think
was
Oh,
one
really?
husband and wife, like the
Yeah.
Greicos or something,
Yeah.
or
That sounds
Lyndon
right.
Rich. Lyndon
Yeah,
Rich.
that
That was
sounds
a
right.
couple that
Yeah.
did it. They were pretty good too.
See, my knees would be louder than the music. I'd sound like a
You'd
bowl.
be up there
I
doing
sound
the
like a bowl of
Charleston.
Rice Krispies, man. Everything's just snap, crackle, and pop.
He's doing the Charleston.
I want to thank Kristy for coming on, and I also want to thank Joe, George, and Kelly for sitting at the table and making this conversation so much fun. One of the things I wanted to do, which is why I also rebranded this podcast, was to recommend a podcast at the end of each episode. And we talked about diabetes during this episode. And there's a podcast I want you to definitely listen to. It's called the Juice Box Podcast. You can actually go to juiceboxpodcast.com. They have over 600 episodes of very, very good information on there. Give it a listen. Let me know what you thought about it if you get a chance. And please leave them a review too. A lot of these podcasts you can actually find on podchaser.com. That's where I find a lot of the podcasts that I listen to. You can go there. You can search for my podcast as well and leave a review. But there's just so much on there that you can find. It's a lot easier than searching some of the big platforms to find a podcast. So again, it's the Juice Box Podcast. It covers a lot about type 1 diabetes. It's a health, fitness, and medicine podcast with Scott Bennett. So once again, if you get a chance, check it out. And until the next time, thank you so much. And if you want to be part of the conversation, just let me know. Email me at rbennett@hartfordcountyliving.com.